said everyone good evening, and like a very good evening to you, TC. Thank you very much.
No problem. Pleasure.
Brilliant. Right, we were just talking about the game that's already come up. Did you manage to catch into the game last night?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. So
No, you're not. Don't be sorry about it, mate. You didn't actually miss much, to be honest.
That probably gets rid of 55 minutes worth of chat, doesn't it?
Gets rid of 2 hours, mate. If we had to go to 2 hours, put it that way. But
no, I didn't see it. No.
But generally, have you managed to catch any of the? I mean, you must have seen it in the press and stuff about how we've been getting on or how we've not been getting on. And what's your assessment from what you've actually gathered over the season, or you've managed to catch on to?
Probably like a lot of teams, or probably use the same excuse at the moment, is certain teams have come back after lockdown and not looking as good as there was before lockdown. Before lockdown, I would have probably said Watford will be safe, and but now it's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit. A bit depressing. Deano, mate, I know you had plenty to say yesterday in your ghost hunting. Look, TC, honestly, I'll send you a picture. We did a full time yesterday, and it looked like he was on ghost hunting mission. It was absolutely brilliant. I'll give him enough. I'll give him enough stick for that, and it'll be out the way in about 10 minutes. He'll get fed up with me in a minute, but but brilliant. So yeah, go on. Sorry, go on.
It just weren't good enough, was it, Paul? It just weren't good enough yesterday again. And again, the same excuses from the players. We go again. Well, I'd like to see it now. It's too much.
Yeah,
can't even say the fitness level. Sure.
Might leave it too late to say we'll go again, and it's an easy thing to say that we'll regroup, we'll do this, and we'll go again. And listen, that's all they can do, so it's a given anyway. But as I said, I didn't see yesterday, so I don't know whether there's chances being created or chances being missed.
No,
wide out, easily beaten or whatever. So I can't really comment. I have seen a few games of late, not been that impressed. It's, as I say, lockdown come at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. A lot of people mention that barring probably most of the Leicester game aside, that we're one of the teams, and I think apart from, similar, I put us in the same bracket as Sheffield United until their last game, where they were seriously struggling and not really started, to be honest. And I think that's, a lot of people said yesterday that we've really been affected by the lockdown. We're one of the worst ones, I think, as well. Your friend Nigel Callahan's on, by the way. Callie. Yeah, and he did say to say hello last time, and so did Gibbo, by the way.
Gibbo. So who have you had on? Callie, Gibbo, Luther?
Luther, we've managed to tag Luther. The big man TC, yourself. Jono always comes on. He's absolute legend, that guy. As indeed yourself. Yeah, Gibbo. We might get
You had Tommy Mooney yet?
No, I ain't had Tomo yet, but I could have easily done that at the Hornets side yesterday. They do like a little thing on Watford Football Club with Alan Smart, who actually came round and sat on my sofa, which was quite an eye-opener. And I was going to quickly cheeky plug it and say, "Oi, Tomo, you know where I live."
Yeah.
But not yet. I'm working on him. But guys, if you're just joining in, this is the TMA Sunday Night Podcast with myself and the young man Daniel Dean, and we've got none other than the Watford, Man City and Birmingham legend, TC Mr. Tony Coton. Obviously, amongst the plethora of clubs he's been in, he's ex-Man United also. Like we say, Man City had one or two games for Man City, shall we say. Obviously, I was just growing up during the tail end of the glory era, as we called it, the golden era, which you starred with many players, including Callie himself. I knew you probably more for your stint at Man City around the tail end when you left, and obviously Mel Rees and David James came in, and you started for Man City. But what was that, like we say, that golden era like? I mean, because you came from Birmingham, didn't you? Taylor sort of recruited you over from Birmingham, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a time of my career which I think is well documented. It's a time that I needed to get away from Birmingham. I'd had a couple of off the field incidents, and you know, I got called into Ron Saunders' office one Monday morning, and I thought, "Blimey, what have I been doing this weekend? Where have I been?" You know, I'm sure I've not been in trouble.
Yeah, what have I done wrong?
Yeah. Basically, as I was walking down the corridor, scratching my head, I'm thinking, "Why does he want to see me? It's not to give me a rise, I'm sure." And he just said, "Look," he said, "the club's financial plight is, you know, is not good, and we've had an offer for you which the club have accepted, and you're free to go and speak to Graham Taylor." So I said, "Right, okay." I knew all about Watford, obviously, because I played against them, and I knew about their attacking style. I knew about Graham, you know, and certain individuals in the team. So anyway, I made my way down to what was it called? The Ladbroke Hotel on the A41 next to the Game Bird. Yeah. And I remember stopping at Toddington Services, and obviously no mobile phones then, and got 10 pence out and said to my dad, "Guess where I am?" And I said, "Birmingham are willing to sell me. Graham Taylor's coming. I'm on my way to Watford." He said, "Brilliant." He said, "Don't come back until you sign."
That's good advice, wasn't it?
Yeah, but basically, I think my dad just wanted me away from the Tamworth and the Birmingham area, you know, for my career, really. So yeah, I met Graham at the Ladbroke, and like many players must have said in the past, once he gets in front of you and once he gets talking, there's only one winner.
Yeah,
you know, and I'd have probably signed for less money than I was on at Birmingham, to be truth. How he sold it to me, how he sold the club. You know, he knew everything about my background. He knew more about me than I knew myself.
Yeah,
it was incredible, you know, and you know, some of the things he said, and I have to say he was true to his word. You know, the type of players that he wanted to bring in, type of players that he got, and he said, "Listen," he said, "you don't let many goals in at Birmingham." He said, "You don't score any." He said, "Our problem is we let lots of goals, but we score a lot." He said, "You know, we're having to score threes to every game to win a game of football."
Yeah.
So he said, "I want you to come in and." You know, he said, "I've seen you dishing the orders out. I've seen you good information. I stood behind the goal at Craven Cottage when you beat Fulham." He says, "I heard all the instructions and all the information you was giving out to your back four."
Yeah.
And he's in. Come on, where you been?
It's Sir Ray. He was desperate. He's desperate to say hello. So if you don't mind, TC.
Ray.
Listen, Tony Coton, you're a hero. You're a hero of mine, going right the way back. We had Mickey Walker with Van Andy Rankin, but you, to me, are the best goalkeeper Watford have ever had. Forget Pat Jennings. Pat Jennings was only with Watford for 1 year, but you, to me,
hey, can you see that, Ray? Can you see that shirt?
Cool. Yeah.
I've been very fortunate to meet lots of people in my career, from all walks of life, from film stars, politicians, whatever. And I've only got two autographs in my life. One's Pat Jennings, who was a bit of an idol of mine growing up, and Muhammad Ali.
Oh my God!
Wow!
Muhammad Ali. Wow!
I'm happy now. So I've got that. You know what I mean? So there's Pat's signed shirt to me there. So
basically, you've had Shovel Hands, which is Pat Jennings' autograph, and you've had Muhammad Ali, who to me is a star. I've got his picture up in my lounge. He is absolutely immense, and he's my best ever boxer.
Yeah, met him in, I think it was 1982. He was doing a tour of Birmingham at the time, and we were at home to Liverpool. and he come into our dressing room and shook hands with everyone. It was just at the start of the Parkinson's disease, you know. It was just that was you could just see the onset of that, and you know. But I just stood there open mouth staring at him, like, you know what I mean, like the rest of the team did, really. Such an aura, you know. So anyway, thank you for those kind words, Ray. You've missed the best 10 minutes, and
that's it. The podcast is over now. The first 10 minutes was the classic.
I'm going to say goodbye now.
Bye, Tony.
How are you, sweetheart? You okay? I've got hold on.
Tony, I'm Sonia. No, it's me. I'm
Sonia. Sonia, it's Sonia, right? She's.
Sonia, you've been listening to Callie, Sonia?
Yes, I have been listening to Callie. I love Callie.
Yeah.
Tony, nice to see you. You're my hero.
Thank you.
See, there you are. There you are. You're everyone's hero, mate.
He is. I love Callie.
Hold on. Damn, I'm on my daughter's laptop here, and there's some words come up that's just blocking your two faces out, and I daren't press anything in case I cut myself off.
That's all right. You're good, mate. You're good.
Tony got my dad's house, actually.
Did he?
Yeah.
Very well. You got your claim to fame is Tony.
Hello, Pidge.
No.
Tony. Apparently, Tony's dad bought your house. Apparently.
No, he bought my dad's house.
He bought your house.
Tony bought my dad's house.
I think the sounds a bit. Yeah. Okay. Right. Ray. So yeah. We go there. Ray, we'll cut you off in a minute, mate, and then just message into the show, fella. All right.
No problem. But just to say that. Happy memories, Tony, and really enjoyed your time at Watford. And to be honest with you, best goalkeeper we've ever had, I reckon.
Thanks, Ray. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Good, mate.
Thanks.
See you again soon, mate.
Cheers.
Take care.
Right. Okay. Tony, that's it. Yeah, no. We've, I think, one of his fan club who have one or too many jars, but that's sort of one of his many fan club on his podcast that he does on a Saturday. So, and he always speaks very highly of you, Tony. So, Ray, I promised Ray that I was going to let him on just to say hello to you. So,
no problem.
Brilliant. Thank you. Right. So you had a debut at 19 against, funny enough, future club Sunderland, I believe, in 1980. But didn't you sign for them in 1978 for Birmingham originally? I know we're going back to your roots again, but
did I just repeat that, Pidge? What did you say?
Yeah, sorry, the sound's not great. I think you had your debut at 19 against your Sunderland. Future club. Was it Tottenham or was it Sunderland? It's back in December 1980. Was it Tottenham?
Sunderland, yeah.
Sunderland.
My debut for Birmingham was against Sunderland with I think you were going to probably skip to where I saved the penalty with my first touch.
See, I didn't put that down. I didn't want to put too much down. No.
All right. Well, I'll just big myself up then, shall I?
Too right. Go for it. Brilliant.
Yeah. So it's my debut was against Sunderland. First touch of the ball was to save a penalty after 54 seconds. I think it's still in the Guinness Book of Records now.
Yeah, too right.
And and then funny enough, there's no one around Sunderland that remembers that. Because I'm working for Sunderland at the moment, so there's no one in the 2 years I've been there. There's nobody ever mentioned it. So But it was.
I'll get on social media later and just give him a little nudge and just let him know.
I wouldn't bother if I was you. I was. It was an eventful start, you know. So it was. It was good.
Yeah, well, like you said, like we've already touched upon, you were originally, you did, from what I can see, you went on to Hereford on loan, but then you went to Watford in '84. And you pretty much said it saved your life. Pretty much, like you said your old man said, no, don't come back until you're signed. We need you out of Birmingham, really, for your own sort of sanity as well as your career. The main reason, don't touch it. There's obviously different side views and opinions about this, but mainly Watford, leaving Watford was, would it be fair to say it was literally just to step up Premier League, Man City at the time, and you've had your time at Watford, and we were sort of like really a mid-table sort of struggling Division Two side, and Man City came along and big club. Was it Peter Reid that was manager at the time?
No, Howard Kendall.
Oh, Howard Kendall, yeah.
Yeah, no. So what had happened in the obviously with Graham leaving was a massive wrench really, because he'd been so good for me, and I think would that be around 87 when he went to Villa?
87, yeah, and then Bassett took over, yeah, which was fond memories for us, obviously.
Well, me as well, yeah. So nothing against Harry Bassett, Dave Bassett. I've seen him many times since, this, that, and the other. He always said it weren't personal.
No.
But that was and I'm listen, if I deserve to be dropped, I deserve to be dropped. It's the only time I've ever been dropped was with Harry.
Yeah.
It's difficult when all the players are saying to you they can't believe what the manager's doing. The coaches are saying the same, this, that, and the other. But you have to get on with it. The fact that the training for me was poor, and I asked to train with, I think it was Tom Wally in the reserves at the time, to get my goalkeeping working. I used to have to do that. So, yeah, it was a time at the club which weren't the best. As I say, Graham left. And then not long after, Steve Harrison come back to the club. I knew Steve because he'd been the coach, first team coach with Graham.
Yeah.
And I wanted to support him, and trying to help us get back into the first division. We just missed out. We were at the top for most of the season, and we lost to Blackburn in the.
Yeah, I remember that just about.
On the away goals, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. And back in the old days when there used to be away goals, wasn't it?
Yeah. So and I said, and at that time Tottenham had come in for me. There was an inquiry from Leeds. Arsenal had a sniff.
Wow.
And I'd said to Steve, look, I promise you I'd stay and support you to try and get you through. So we come to an arrangement that I got a new Sir Elton got involved, and I signed a new contract. But in there was a clause that said if anybody come with £1 million and it suited me, I could leave.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And then what really made my mind up was the fact that Steve resigned, said management wasn't for him. And at the time then I think Colin Lee took over, and there was Colin Lee and David Hay. I think the ex-Celtic player, would that be right, his name?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, the ex-Celtic player.
Yeah. And so it wasn't great, everything wasn't great there. And next minute, I'm being told Man City have come in. They've reached the clause, and I was free to go and speak to Man City again. I spoke to my dad, and I just said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Do you think you've had your time? You feel you've done enough at Watford, and it doesn't the normal stability that Watford had with Graham being there all that time and this, that, and the other." And I thought, "Oh, we'll get back to that with Steve." And then Steve resigned, and then it was just a bit too loose for me, and I just thought, right, I'm 30 now. I probably need to, if it's one or two moves left in me, then it's probably the right time. So,
yeah.
And I never got any grief, really. I never got any grief from. The Watford fans have always been magnificent to me. I've got a lot of letters. Not one slagging me off for leaving. I think they all thought I was going to leave before I did, but
loyalty. That's what that's one
yeah,
thing we appreciate, and most clubs do, is loyalty. And the thing is that you stuck around longer than everyone expected. So
yeah.
kudos out for that as well, I think.
I don't think a lot of people knew that, you know, when you've got people like Tottenham, Arsenal, Leeds, and sniffing at that time, then, you know, people didn't know that, and it wasn't difficult to turn it down. I look back sometimes, and people say, "Do you wish you'd have gone to Tottenham because your international career might have been a bit better, or this, that, and the other?" And I say, no, really. You look back, and we can all have lots of regrets and all that, and I'm not one of them that want to ponder on that.
No.
What went on, and what will be. So, and that's how I dealt with it. And so the next chapter started up in Manchester.
Yeah, no, it's good. Deano, I know I'm not going to hog this sort of pod. I know you've got a couple of questions to throw at TC. You shoot, mate, and then I've got a couple.
What's your favourite match you've played in for Watford, Tony?
There's a few in there. I'll probably surprise you with a couple, but it'd be wrong of me not to mention that the quarter final away to Liverpool when we drew 0-0, and I have to mention it, but I don't like mentioning it because the replay gets brought up then with the famous penalty with Ian Rush, and we lost 2-1. But I would probably say the Liverpool away, Arsenal in the quarter final when we won 3-1, and then I went and broke my thumb before the semi final, and there was a couple of others. Coventry away in the FA Cup the year after they won it, and we knocked them out. And I think we won 1-0 with I'm trying to rack my brains. Who scored the goal? Would it have been Trevor Senior?
Oh, Trevor Senior, that's a blast from the past. That is
one of the few that he got. I stand corrected on that one. I can't remember, but we got battered anyway, and I had one of those games and we won 1-0. So probably those stand out, and then there's other games mean a lot because of the importance of them, or a particular time when you made a particular save or something happened in a game. But in all round performances, I would probably say those in that order.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Right, we've got a couple of thanks for all your comments, guys and girls. We've got one thrown out from Callie. He says, "I'm the second best goalkeeper." That's from Mr. Callie himself. We've got Siren's going, "Hi, Tony, Watford's greatest keeper ever." You know that's true. He's our TMA greatest goalkeeper of all time as well, because we really were trying to make ideas up when we had everyone on my sofa, when we had our usual live podcast, obviously before COVID hit. About a year or so ago, and we did obviously every single Sunday we did a certain position. Obviously, goalkeeper first, went all the way to forward. So you are, without a doubt, it was a couple that were without shadow of doubt. I think the forward line was Blissett, Barnes, and Caddy were the nailed on ones alongside yourself and Johnny Mack as well, John McClelland as well.
And rightly so.
Yeah, and rightly so. Yeah, exactly. I thought you'd say that as well.
No.
Right.
I was talking about the other three, not me, not myself.
Oh no, you were pretty much
the other four really. The two wide men were the best that I've played in. Yeah. Two different styles of wingers in Kelly and Barnsley, but the best crossers that by far. Rick Oldham was who I played with twice at Watford and at Man City. He was a good crosser of the ball.
Oh, Rick Oldham, yeah.
Nothing like Kelly and Barnsley. I think Kelly was probably one of the most underrated players. Certainly at Watford. In terms of other people got the plaudits, probably myself and John, but Kelly was a hell of a player, you know. And
Yeah.
I used to hate him in training because he used to beat me. He used to beat me for fun, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a handful of players in my career that I just hated in training because they made me look stupid. You know, and and if I don't know whether Nigel's listening because he normally spins the decks. He's spinning the decks on a Sunday.
I think he's sort of warming them up for tonight. I think, but while he's claiming the second best second keeper tag, I think.
Well, that was when I got sent off at Arsenal and Kelly went in, and I can't remember what the score was when I went off, to be honest. But I know his first thing. The first thing he had to do was face a penalty. I know that because that was why I said some choice words to the linesman, which got me sent off. and then Kelly went in, and his first task was to face a penalty, and I don't even know who took it. Martin Hayes, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But Kelly was very good in training. I know that when he put the gloves on. But so to be linked with those names, Luther, of course, you know, he's number one on everything, and then Barnsley, Nige, and Slippers, John McClelland. You know, he's an honour, yeah.
Yeah, definitely brilliant. We've got Greg Thieker said TC best Watford FC goalkeeper ever by a country mile. Fabulous player, should have played for England. But in that era, there were some great keepers when you were playing as well, especially around the mid '80s.
I'm not one to really watch it, but I think I'd have had over 70 caps now if I was playing now. You know, in terms of the England position now, but I did have a lot of competition then. You know,
oh yes,
Dave Seaman, Chris Woods, Nigel Martin,
Peter Shilton,
Tim Flowers.
Yeah.
You know, the list goes on, and you know, now it's, you know, we're not strong in that area at the moment.
No, I think, joking as it sounds, you probably would actually get 70 caps at the moment because Pickford was nailed on. Now they're looking at like the likes of Pope and players like that, but nothing's nailed on anymore. I mean, back then you had about 6, 7 really genuinely, possibly world-class keepers, you know, hunting around there. Obviously, Pat Jennings floating around near the tail end of his career, but you had a few around your time. So, like a lot of players.
I had the honour of, before Pat retired, to play against him a few times. So that was a bonus for me.
Oh, dream come true for you, I bet. You know, anyone, like you said, you got your signed shirt as well. So I mean, even meeting one of your legends. I mean, if we were meeting like today with you, you know, we're meeting one of our legends. I bet that was a eye opener for you personally, as one of your heroes.
Well, it was strange because he was playing for Arsenal, and we played him on a Tuesday night at St Andrews, and we beat. They were a good team they've always been a good team, but we turned the phone books upside down and we beat them 2-1 at St Andrews. And all I kept thinking of during the game, it's strange what goes through your mind, was as soon as this final whistle is going, I'm racing up the other end and I'm walking the length of the pitch with him. I'm going to meet him by his box, and I'm going to walk the length of the pitch with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wanted to spend as much time with him as I could, just walking off, you know. So that was a big highlight for me to do that. So when I played, there was lots of top talented goalkeepers. Yeah,
it was similar to us, wasn't it, Dino? When Jono came into the supporters bunker, Watford with the supporters bunker, and TC, and had a drink with us. It's a bit surreal. One of the players that back in the mid-90s we'd sort of idolised, and him standing with us, going, "Oh, you know, this happened," giving us stories like yourself doing it today, and it's an eye opener, especially when you meet your heroes. They never say never meet your heroes, but
you're disappointed. Yeah, I know.
You do. They always say that, but I'm fortunate that pretty much 99% of my heroes have been absolutely terrific, so including yourself. So It's always reassuring. TC, Watford Willie said, TC, did you like the family club atmosphere at Watford, and then the open days they did back then as well?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, going back to the open days, is one of the things that we had in our contracts. I think we were the first to have that, and Graham insisted on that, was that we had to do so many hours in the community. And we had a rota where you'd have to go, and it was either push a pile of pennies over here, or present this there, or go down. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Each player was designated certain throughout the season, and then a couple of times there'd be 4 or 5 of you go en masse to something. You know, I even remember going to, and I'm gonna, the surname, it'll come to me in a minute. His name's Gavin, who was in the family enclosure, and what's the surname now? It'll come to me, and I went to his bar mitzvah, you know, in North London, and I went down there, and his mum's name's Joe, he's Gavin. Oh, and I used to see him in the family enclosure, and the biggest thing for a player is going to a club and the fans taking to you straight away. And I can honestly say there'd have been certain individuals when I made a mistake having a pop.
Always is, even people now,
yeah,
you know.
You know, which is part for the course. But I'd probably say that I never ever went out onto the pitch for Watford feeling better anywhere else than playing for Watford, because of the confidence those fans give me. They supported me. I used to get a lot of mail, you know, from fans if I'd made a mistake. You know, I used to get a lot of mail telling me how it was a one-off and you've saved us in this game, this game, or whatever. It does give you a boost, and it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And knowing I could go out and probably could afford to make a mistake without getting pillared, was, you know, it made you even more confident. So it was. So from that point of view, it was very good at Watford, and I do believe in the community stuff. I mean, now it'd be very rare at most clubs that you get near to a player.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You don't. I mean, Luther touched upon that as well, and that gap that it seemed to get wider and wider is happening now. I mean, we remember going to even something like a non-league club with Hemel Town. They used to let you on the on the bus with the players on the way to the games, and you had that connection with the players. I know, obviously, you like their own privacy and all that stuff, which I completely agree. But you had that. What I mean is, you had that unity, that connection with the fans a bit more due to the community work, and like you said, going to people's, you know, personal, you know, events and stuff like that. You felt a bit more like you were together. So when you went on the pitch, you know, you had that more of a connection. You know, you knew they were behind you. You already talked to the fans, and you know, like I say, that you're all together. But now, like you said, there's not that. Still, I mean, you had your Troy Deeneys and players like that still, you know, engage with the fans, say hello, take photos after the game. But it's not the same that it was, say, the 90s or the 80s, was it?
No, I mean, even when I, you know, we used to park the car down behind the allotment end, you know, the rookery end.
Yeah.
And the car, I don't know whether the car park's there anymore or whether there's an allotment still there, but there was an allotment down there and then a little car park, and we used to park there and then walk up. I used to walk up the hill with my dad, and you know, and he'd go off into the players' lounge and or the guest room, it was called then, and then I'd go in and then see him after the game, and then, you know, you walk down there after the game, and there'd be certain fans waiting for you to speak to you after the game, and they'd often walk down talking to me.
Yeah.
When I got to my car, I'd get in the car and then they'd go back and walk back up the hill, you know, because they'd had their 20 minutes chat and this, that and the other. And, you know, I was happy to do that, you know, and to the point where Watford has always been a family club and a community club that Richard Walker.
Richard Walker. Yeah.
He often calls me and said, "Look, TC," and then as soon as lockdown come, he was on the phone. I know he rang Tommy Mooney as well, and he gave me a list of names, a list of telephone numbers, and he said, "Could you give him a call? Wish him all the best. Is there anything the club could, hello, it's Tony Coton here." And the first thing I said, well, are these people of a certain vintage? I said, because they won't know, most of them won't remember, know who Tony Coton is. I said, so can you make them 55 plus? So I got the senior, I got the seniors, and I was glad to do it because, it's been terrible times, and some people are lonely, and all they live for is going to the game on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So if I could do my bit, I was glad to do it. And I know Tommy was the same.
Yeah, and like I say, I mentioned Luther once again. He touched upon exactly what you just said as well, and he said as well, as much as kind as you were ringing them up, and it gave them a boost. It gave you something to do, and obviously engaging with fans and sharing stories as well, like you said, of a fan of a certain vintage. But to be honest, there's people younger than me that know about your exploits because the generations are passed on the stories. So we're sort of educating our children. I mean, most of my kids have been force-fed Watford, so they've had no choice anyway. But I'll be passing on these stories and saying, look, this player, you should have watched this player when he was playing. He was amazing. And that's how the younger generation get to know the players like yourself, like even the Cliff Holtons all the way back there, because it's passed down the generations as well. So, I can see what you mean, though.
It's about educating them, mate. That's it.
That's it. Great parenting. Great parenting.
That's what you're doing, yeah.
Yeah, I've set the foundations for the youngest one. She's named Taylor, so it's just a matter of time before I pass on the knowledge or lack of that I've got. Anyway, so I'll leave it to me dad if I don't do it. So,
well, believe it or not, there is a Man City fan out there with a Christian name called Coton. Believe it or not.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, there is.
Yeah, I know strange things, but they worship players, and same with us. Like I say, same with us. We've got. There must be a few Nigels out there. Kelly will love that. But there must be a few Nigels out there.
Yeah, there might be a few little Kellys out there. I don't know.
That's it, definitely. There's a Coton somewhere. Someone's shouting "Oi, Coton" off to bed now, I reckon, during this podcast.
Yeah.
Definitely. Right, Mr. 1881's on, Roy Moore, Andy Barton's on, Super Joshy Filler's on, Kathy, ex-work mate of mine. Evening, Kathy. Lovely to hear from you. Right, I was going to ask this as well, because there's a few managers, including Ron Saunders, which I didn't know that was actually manager of Birmingham at the time, which is one hell of a manager, because like I've heard, like I say, passed on, I've heard stories about him. I've watched Match of the 80s and different things as well. But Alan Lathwell said, TC says, how does working with GT compared to working with Sir Alex?
I've been very fortunate to work with what I class as 3 top class managers in Sir Alex, Graham, and Ron Saunders. Yeah, it was Ron Saunders that he didn't give me my debut. Jim Smith did, but it was Ron Saunders that really gave me the confidence and belief in my own ability to. And then obviously he gave me the run in the first team. Yeah. But the different, I think Graham, bit like Sir Alex, they both ran the club from top to bottom. They made all the decisions. Everything that was done, certainly from the playing point of view, it had to be run past those two. And I would probably say, if Graham had have had the analytics of today, analysts on hand to get him all the information and all the data and everything, he would have been even better, because he was so far ahead of his time. I mean, when we'd be looking at the opposition, we were in the guest room at Vicarage Road, which has got just a small TV and a video, and it was like, put the video in. Yeah. Look at the opposition, and it was stop, rewind, play, stop, rewind, and it took all afternoon. Yeah, I mean, we'd be in there at 1 o'clock and come out at 5 o'clock, and it was hard. It was hard to take, to be honest. but we had to do it. But
Yeah.
he was highlighting certain tactical points that we needed to, if there's a weakness there or their strength here, he showed it, and it was rewind. Whereas now it's just a touch screen thing, and it's bumping, and it's up, and it's bumping, and it's.
They've got a whole team of analysers now, haven't they? That basically gather all the data for them now.
And everything can be condensed down into 12, 15 minutes, which is probably the time which I think any more than that, I think it's proven that people lose concentration. So, that's why every team meeting now is normally between 12 and 15 minutes long, because players start to switch off. So Graham was ahead of that. His man management was great. So was Sir Alex's. So was Ron Saunders. They were all disciplinarians, every one of them, which is strange for me. That's always gone against discipline, really. But along with those three, I towed the line, and they were superb in their own rights, each and every one of them. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, Deano, mate. Sorry, mate. I've got a couple of things to ask, but you shoot, mate. Go on. You got anything else, mate?
Who are your football heroes, Tony, growing up or now? Who are your favourite players you love?
Well, obviously, Pat, that I told you about, was not my reason for playing in goals, but he was the one that whenever Tottenham came to the Midlands, I begged my dad to take me to wherever they were playing, and always asked him, could he get me a ticket behind the goals, just to get as close to him as I could. So certainly Pat Jennings was that. In terms of, I don't think I'm lucky enough to say that probably my biggest hero was my father. I always looked up to him. Mainly because he was a roofer, and I used to say, "Dad, do you want a cup of tea?"
You always looked up to him then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, he wasn't actually. He was a lorry driver. But
okay.
I just thought I'd slip that one in.
Yeah.
No, so from a supportive parent point of view, without being pushy, because you get I've seen a lot of pushy parents in this game.
Yeah, of course.
With young players. But he was very supportive, so him first, Pat Jennings second, and then I can't. I know I'm probably going to be swearing here now, lads. But
go on, we'll let you off.
Mick Arthur's. We've been best friends for a long time now.
Oh, Mickey Arthur! I had the pleasure of meeting him last year. Such a lovely bloke. He says. He looked at my arm because I'm a healthcare assistant at St Albans, and I had my uniform, obviously nothing below the elbow. You can see me WFC, and he just looked and went, "Oh God." I said, "Don't worry, Mickey." I said, "I'm going to ask you one question." This was outside, obviously not in the hospital. This is outside He was around St Albans at the time, and I said, honestly, the only question I asked him was, "What was it like playing alongside Vinnie Jones?"
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't anything about Luton. I said, "Look, don't worry." I said, "Don't worry, Mick." I said, "You can wash that blood off." But
well, you know the story, because he's the only player that never had to never got an initiation at Wimbledon. So that's
really.
He's the only player the new player. They all went, "Well, no, we're not doing it with him."
Yeah, I think so. He looked a bit intimidating. A lovely fella, but when he was walking up, he's like, "Oh, okay."
So we go away every year, but we haven't done this year because of lockdown. We're planning my big birthday next year, where we're going on a road trip.
Brilliant.
So I speak to him every day. But funny enough, lads, I haven't spoke to him today. How did they get on yesterday?
Oh man, it's a thing of beauty. They lost 5-0, so that's obviously. Yeah. I was deeply depressed this morning after hearing that result.
But there's still time. I'll just see if that was in messaging then. There's still time for him to call me, but Yeah, so those, in answer to your question, obviously
Yeah.
from a career point of view, playing point of view, then Pat Jennings, and then my biggest hero really was my dad because of the support and everything that he did, and my friendship with Mick.
Yeah, he was a very hard player, Mick. He was a good player, but very tough, very shall we say, non-compromising as well.
Well,
You would say old school, but it's very, very hard, buddy.
You can't see it on screen there, but I have got a scar there where he was playing for Luton, I was playing for Watford, and he rang me up on the morning and he went, "You know, I'm going to have to do you today, don't you?" And I said, Mick, I wouldn't expect anything else. And he gave me 4 stitches.
Jesus, that's real friendship, though, isn't it?
Well, at least he told me he was going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Give you a clear warning. That's what I never, even as Sunday League, I never said to anyone, I'll go past you. One, I had no pace, and 2, I wouldn't even dare doing it anyway because I'll probably get taken out. So he stuck me in centre back. So,
I hope that answered your questions.
Brilliant. Right, okay. You touched on as well that you're still at Sunderland. But what did you make? I mean, you probably say, yeah, I've been asked this a million times. But what did you think of that Sunderland Till I Die documentary? Because personally, I absolutely loved it. I had the pleasure of messaging the current chairman as well, and saying that, you know, there's a lot of things he got criticised for, but there's a lot of things, you know, okay, like the overpricing of Will Grigg as well. But his heart's in the right place. Obviously, being an Oxford fan as well, taking over as Sunderland. You were, did you say head of recruitment? I know Ricky Hill's there as well. Obviously, I don't really want to say what kind of team he played for, but I obviously recognise Ricky Hill as well. But I mean, it must have.
Richard Hill.
That's it.
Who played for Watford?
That's it. Oh, that's the Richard. Right. Okay. Because I was getting mixed up with the one that was in the dark side. But yeah. So, but you were head of recruitment. What did you make of that whole period? Where not last season before? How did you make of that? Was it really how it was reflected in the documentary? Well, that's probably a stupid question to ask that.
Well, there's been 2 documentaries. One was finished just prior to us going in 2 years ago, and I think the end of that program shows you Stuart arriving as the new chairman, and then the whole Netflix series was being filmed last season, and me and Richard Hill we didn't want to take part in it. No. I'll be honest, because as the first series seemed to be more about the outgoing chief executive Mike Bain. I don't know whether you saw the first one.
Yeah. I think he has arts in the right place as well, Mike Bain. But I just think he got a lot of flack for. He was basically the figurehead among, and everyone else was pulling the strings above him.
Yeah. So he got that, but obviously there is. I would have thought, as a company and somebody that's doing this, you have editorial rights. Yep. And you can put in and take out what you don't like. I would insist on that if they were doing about that.
Fair enough.
So they can make you look as good or unpopular as if you don't have those editorial rights. And it soon became apparent with the second series was Charlie Meffin, the guy with the tan and the wavy hair. And,
I've got an opinion about him, but I'll let you talk first.
And the posh voice. It soon come apparent that it was going to be his show and nobody else's show and this, that, and the other. And the fact that he was walking around the place mic'd up all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't adhere to that, and neither did Richard Hill. No. So we wouldn't let him in our office at all, and he was an associate director. It says a lot that I've seen a lot where it says co-owner. He's not a co-owner. He has 6%.
Yeah, that's the way it came across in the documentary, that he was like both of them were the owners, but then it transpired that he wasn't, and it was like, hang on a moment, it's a bit conflicting.
Yeah, no, he's got 6%, so it soon, and then. There was all kinds of stories around the place of how he was treating people, how he was talking to people, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, especially on Boxing Day with that lady, the Irish lady thing. I can understand where like you said, when they did the meeting and no one took any notes and there was some sort of thing, I can understand where they were being a bit forward with that. But there was stuff like changing the walkout tune. When he was talking to her on Boxing Day, it wasn't her fault, blessing. It was just the way he came across that. If you really wanted to put a case for him, he didn't come across very well.
No, not at all. And I'd worked at Man United for all those years. And, when you work for Man United and you're on the recruitment side and the coaching side, there was never, under Sir Alex, there was never a player signed which was for weeks leading up to it, you knew about him. It was always done after he'd signed, and you'd sign this player. And it was like you signed the Official Secrets Act, whereas with Charlie Methven, he couldn't wait to tell everybody before he told, the key members of the staff. So it made it very difficult when they were going in the Sunderland Echo and on the podcast and saying, we're going to sign a forward. We need a forward. We're definitely going to sign one. Yeah. So when you contact clubs about a player, we call it the Sunderland tax. It was double or it was treble the amount that the player was actually worth. Purely and simply because clubs knew that we were desperate, and he'd gone all over the press saying we needed to sign one. So it was difficult. So in terms of the programme, I think I've got a little 15-second cameo appearance, which Stuart asked me to do, and it's because Stuart asked me, I did it. Other than that, there was a lot that they wanted to do that me and Richard Hill just turned up. We said, no, we don't want to be involved in it.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was like, TC, hey, there he is. No, because he said, there he goes. There he is. There he goes. Yeah, enough for people to haunt you for an autograph. Just enough. But when he said TC, I said, no, it's not Tony Coton, surely. And I just flashbacks because obviously you had your stint there as well. And I was going to touch upon that as well because you were signed under Peter Reid and the Premier League season. Obviously, experienced keeper. They had a couple of keepers that weren't really, because they had Shay Given on loan the season before. They went up. They signed you, experience alongside Noel Quinn as well, which obviously went on and had a fantastic career for them as well. But you had a really bad break, shall we say, no pun intended. That really derailed your season because you were really kicking on then. Because I remember you coming to us in the League Cup as well.
Yeah, which was thankfully the time it was, because it meant I came back to Vicarage Road for the first time since I'd left. Yeah. I hadn't been back for 6 years. So as soon as that draw took place, I was absolutely delighted that I was coming back. Albeit, I know it wouldn't be a full house and this, that, and the other because it was the League Cup and this, that, and the other. But I've gone on record and said when I ran out and I ran up to the Red Lion end. What do you call that end now?
Yeah, the Vicarage Road is still Vicarage Road, and it's like technically it's a family stroke thing. But yeah, I've got a little passage about that as well. But you carry on first.
So when I ran up there, and listen, even when fans are doing that to you as you're running up, and one fan ran on and hugged me and all this, and welcome back and all this, I'm thinking, blimey, they've not forgot me. So I was delighted that we drew you in the cup early doors, and then unfortunately, probably so. I'm trying to think which way around it was. Did we play at Roker Park first, or was it Victory?
No, I think it was us first. And there's a couple of things I want to say. Firstly, I didn't hug you too hard.
What, was that you?
And also, as well, I
still got the lipstick on me.
Oh well, it's a nice shade of red back in those days. I know there's a couple of people trying to run on, and also. I was stewarding in 98, 99, and you walked past and our mate, and Dino knows him as our mate James Bounder, we call him Jim, who's actually on this forum as well. He was the vomitory up on the Rookery, and the other end, the south stand, it's now the Rookery. It's always been the Rookery. And I was at the bottom, steward, and you actually came walking past me, and he just glared at me. So as you walked past, I went, Tony, you're right, and you just very kindly said, "Oh, how you doing, mate?" and just walked past me. And my mate was glaring because you're like a god to him. You're his favourite player, and he's just because he turned away. He says, "I don't want to do the bottom of the stand today. Can I do your vomitory?" And I said, "Okay, fine. I'll stand at the bottom. I can't really watch much of the game being a steward anyway." And then you came walking past. He said, "That's the one thing he always regrets that." When you walk.
We'll get to meet him one day. Don't worry.
Yeah, his time will come. His time will come. But yeah, so what was the you said about Mick Harford, but what would you say he was the toughest player you ever played against?
Physically,
yeah,
one of them. I would probably say that my bogeyman really was probably Ian Rush. Really, he was there. He was
a bad player, was he?
He was a good player. He was a predator.
Yeah.
In terms of toughness, really, I suppose. Mick. The thing with Mick was. He'd take it as well. It's ain't as if you can't touch me or you can't give it me back. You know what I mean? He expected it. You give it out, you have to expect some back. So, he was like that. So from that point of view, then probably yeah. I'm just trying to think of others.
I mean, would there be bogey players, if you know what I mean? Like, say, teams always have another team where they always seem to lose against. Was there any player you went, "Oh, God, I'm probably going to concede against him. He always seems to get one past me"?
Have I gone very dark, by the way, on this screen? Or
I think you've dimmed the light. You set the mood. I think we just think you've set the mood.
I'll put the lamp on, shall I?
There we go.
Ghost hunting, like me again.
Yeah, he's almost ghost hunting sort of darkness like Dino was last night, but not quite. It was more sort of set the mood, TC.
Right, okay, mate. What was your question?
No, just because we said about
bogey players.
Bogey players, the one you sort of think, "Oh God, I'm probably going to end up conceding against this guy." He always seems to score against me, no matter how well I play.
Probably Rushy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably Ian Rush. Yeah. Yeah. So,
brilliant.
Like you say, not a bad player.
Yeah, no, he wasn't bad, was he? Dino, anything, mate? We've got about 5 minutes, mate, but.
Yeah, I'll quickly chuck it in. What do you make of this VAR technology, Tony? What do you make of it? Go on, give me an honest opinion.
Load of bollocks. Until they get it consistently right, and being offside with it out wide by your toenail, and it's ridiculous. The game's gone. I mean, it really has.